Okay, everybody ready?
Houston, Texas, now home to a major coronavirus outbreak. A procedure all too common when treating the most seriously ill with the virus. This patient on a ventilator, the breathing tube being replaced to improve oxygen flow to the lungs.
1, 2, 3.
No, I just got.
Okay, where is the dentist to be? Yeah, nasty.
The tube pulled out.
Wow, bad. It's bad.
Caked with dried secretions from the lungs rife with the coronavirus.
You have colorimetric change. You got it in. Excellent.
The new tube immediately improves oxygen flow.
Woo! That's the first one for the day.
So that was...
We had to change the tube, but in somebody that has no oxygen, he could have died. His tube was malfunctioning. It has a little balloon at the end that was ruptured, so he was not getting enough oxygen.
United Memorial Medical Center, a 117-bed hospital serving a mostly working-class community in North Houston. Some things we've seen elsewhere. On a ventilator, a patient's chance for survival goes down, way down.
The problem is that once you intubate them, the chances of them leaving the hospital are less than 20%.
Unlike other hospitals we've seen, this facility is transforming itself into a sort of COVID specialty center.
The last 3 weeks, I have seen more admissions and sicker patients than on the previous 10 weeks. So it's been an exponential increase on the severity of illness and on the number of cases that we admit.
Its COVID unit expanding way beyond its intensive care unit by turning whole sections of the hospital into temporary airtight chambers, creating negative pressure zones to keep the airborne virus moving up and out. And strict protocols are in place for moving in and out of these zones. Everyone must have a test for coronavirus before entering, even journalists, and protective gear now so abundant that everyone triples up. Some employees getting through 8 sets or more of PPE in a single shift.
And now this is for the people that you're treating, so that they know what you look like. How are you?
In the 100 days they've been treating patients with coronavirus, only one nurse has developed the sickness. She's now being treated by her own colleagues.
You are the frontline worker in the battle against COVID, and you now have it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't wish this on my own enemy because I hurt from here all the way down the base of my neck, and getting any sleep is almost like it's impossible.
She's not sure how she got it, but thinks it may have been a patient who had stopped breathing, and despite multiple layers of PPE, the physical effort to save his life may have put her own at risk.
I was coating him, and as I was pushing down, the air was coming, but that's the only position that I could do it with.
The isolation of the disease difficult to deal with, even for someone who knows what to expect. Her thoughts now with her 9 and 10-year-old daughters.
What would you say to Madeline and Abigail right now?
Baby, Mommy loves you and misses you. I hope you're having a great time in California. Okay, I'm done.
The Lone Star State now in a full-blown surge with coronavirus cases and hospitalizations rising at alarming rates. In Travis County, Austin's Convention Center is preparing to host a coronavirus emergency care facility. Bexar County, home to San Antonio, saw a more than 600% increase in hospitalizations in June. And in Houston, hospitals are nearing capacity and preparations are underway to turn NRG Park, where the Houston Texans play, back into an emergency medical facility. It was taken down in April.
If I could go back and redo anything, it probably would have been to slow down the opening of bars.
Texas now reversing parts of its aggressive effort to reopen its economy. Bars now closed again throughout the state.
Well, it's very difficult.
Mohammed Alam owns 2 nightclubs in Houston, both now closed till further notice. He's now fighting for his life.
How do you think you got COVID?
When the club opened, and I have a patrons, they like to give me a hug and everything. So they try to give me a hug or shake hand, or maybe they was paying the money counting the money.
Today, United Memorial Medical Center is at about 80% capacity.
Please understand, these patients are very sick. These are patients that are about to die. So we have to admit them, and once they're here, despite of everything that we do, I mean, they have to stay in the hospital anywhere between 5 and 10 days at the minimum. So those beds will be occupied for a period of 5 to 10 days. So sooner or later, within the next 2 weeks, we're going to be at full house.
Dr. Verone, who has now worked for more than 100 days without stop, has become a sort of coronavirus specialist. For now, it appears to be paying off. 96% of patients admitted to the hospital, he says, beat the disease.
COVID is a very fluid illness. It's an illness that changes. And what I knew 4 months ago is completely different than what I do now. The way I treated patients 2 months ago, it's 100% different than what I do now.
And does it still surprise you? Does the disease still do things that make you scratch your head?
Every single day, I get surprised. Every day.
Dr. Verone now aggressively attacking inflammation and blood clotting, using everything from vitamins, physically rotating patients, antibiotics, hydroxychloroquine for some, even stem cells soon. Anything from having to put patients on a ventilator. The virus still confounding doctors and surprising those trying to avoid getting it. This husband and wife, who did not want their names used, now share a room in the coronavirus unit here. They say they did everything, staying home, wearing masks, and keeping their distance from others.
It's a little bit scary. I wish that people would take it more seriously. They should take it more seriously. You can't trust people just because they look healthy, because a lot of people are walking around looking healthy and they're not healthy.
It's the biggest challenge. Those that don't know they have it are giving it to others, making them sick, and possibly killing them.
In Houston, there are 2 types of patients. Those that have COVID and those who will get COVID. My concern as a healthcare provider is that when they get sick, they don't all come to me at the same time, which is what's happening at the present time. And that's what's going to kill patients because we won't have enough resources.